Make sure we can hear. Yes. Yeah, I did check that before too. Amazing.
Yeah. Imagine that the whole time we're just like, blah, blah, blah,
And
mics
nobody
are
can
muted.
hear us. All right, make sure we're live in our Facebook group.
Yes,
Perfect, I can see that.
yeah, it's going real good. We're on Restream, our amazing platform that we utilize. And you guys, a big welcome and a happy, what day is it again?
Friday. It's
Friday then. It's Sunday. What? It's Friday then.
It's funny because it's our theme song. It has been for many years. So as soon as we start singing, we just know.
Literally. And Courtney was singing it yesterday at lunchtime when we had a picnic out on the grass and just beautiful lunch.
Not Friday.
And she's like singing it and we're like, oh yeah, Friday's tomorrow. She said, wait, what? Tomorrow?
I was like, oh, I just given myself an extra day.
She just created time.
This is the cool thing about being an entrepreneur. Some days you don't know what day it is, and you're like, you get to just have that freedom, do what you want with your time.
Yeah. You guys drop freedom below if that's you also. You're an entrepreneur, business owner, know what it's like to create a day all of a sudden because you're so in it. There's no weekends or weeks.
And you're like, wait, what day is it?
Drop below.
Perfect. Is that all good?
Yeah, it looking good. You guys can give us feedback as long as audio is all good and just say hello as well. Yeah.
So we have a special, very special guest episode today.
Oh, I'm a bit tall.
Why are you so tall?
I don't know.
With my soul sis, Kristen Melbourne. Now, we've been wanting to do this episode for the past
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. We have had incredible things. We always have incredible things going on. Anybody who knows us knows that we're rapidly transforming.
Who knows us?
And it shows in our incarnation cross and
Yes.
our human design as well. So that's why, how we do business together is so valuable and so amazing. And it just works well because we're both lovers of transformation.
Yeah.
Like radical transformation. And so we've had our leadership weekend here in this beautiful space.
Yeah.
And it was so incredible. We had Beck from Bali on the screen. We had we had so many incredible things that we can also share about with our community and our team.
Yes.
And it was just so incredible. It went even better than I had even expected or thought.
Yeah.
And I'm just so like, watch this space, essentially. Watch this space. And if you want to be a part of this momentum in this space and you don't even know what it is, just say yes and figure out the rest later.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing. So we've got an incredible episode today and we're going to talk all things like in the description, India, the ups, the downs, the everything in between. I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes whilst Kristen was in India. And my gosh, I'm so excited because this is just it's going to blow you away. And we want to hear as well, if you've been traveling or you have traveled in the past or you want to, like, what's been your experience with travel? What has it given you, the realizations as well? So would you like to open the ceremony, my love?
We have begun.
Ceremony begun. We've got our incense, our beautiful incense from Omar and Soph as well.
Yes, absolute legends. Yeah, so thanks, Court. It's epic to be here and have this chat with you because this is going to be a bit of a chat over the next half an hour, 45 minutes, just whatever comes from this conversation, my learnings and my recent trip and experience and what it's like in India. If any of you have traveled to India, put that below and start typing your learnings and take things away because it's pretty phenomenal experience. And we encourage and invite you to share as I'm speaking and as Court, we're both speaking through this extended session. Share what's coming up for you too. Share what you've learned on your own travels and your experiences, or even some stories that you've been shared with. So where to start?
Well, let's start from the beginning. The beginning. So
how it came about even.
How it came about to start with. Yeah.
It was okay. So I went to India with some coaches that Court and I have done extensive work with and who have really transformed our life. And so this is a plug for those guys, MJB seminars, because we have a deep love for those guys, a deep gratitude for them. It's really kickstarted this entire journey for us many years ago. And their work is so powerful and super transformational. It's rewiring of complete energy and self, and you can go and explore what they do through their socials and through their website. And we highly encourage you, even if you're listening to this message, to do their work.
Mm.
And because it's so transformational, and it's something that I've never come across anywhere in the globe yet, and it's very, very unique. So we've had a lot of people go through their things that we know of too, and the community is just wonderful. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
And they obviously offer these trips and these experiences to go overseas traveling with them.
Yeah.
And so there was 40 other clients. And last year when the opportunity came up, I was straight onto that.
Yeah.
And just felt the pull and the calling to go with them. It was a dream before COVID, because they've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
Taking people to India each year, and then obviously it stopped in COVID a bit. So before then it was like, I'm going one day, and that's a goal for you too, is I'm going one day, maybe.
Well, now that I've heard it, I feel like I've lived through the experience with you. I'm not sure I need to go and experience that now, as we'll talk about.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if I need to do that. Maybe only a week or something. Maybe we can go again. We'll see.
So that's how it came about. The opportunity came up. I grabbed onto it and went all in, and knew that I'd be having massive learnings through it, and going with those guys in that community. It's not like a Kentucky. I haven't even been on a Kentucky, but I don't think I'd be interested, because we both value these types of immersions when traveling. Going with people that are super high level, being in a container, a community that are high frequency, high vibe, you're on the same page. It's not about partying, it's not about drinking, it's not about just even piss farting around sightseeing. It's about this deeper spiritual
like immersion.
growth. This immersion in it. So that's also why I went with them and continue to travel with them, and they'll be doing South America trips as well. So and looking at some Turkey trips like around that area. I can't remember what that area is called, but
cool.
There's plenty more to come. So
watch this space. And of course, plenty, like you guys know that we're moving to Bali. We're moving to Bali mid-December. So it's going to be it's going to be incredible as well. So my next question that's coming through is like, what I obviously know your intention, but for those listening, like, what was your intention behind going to India and experiencing it? What was that intention for you?
That's a really good question. Besides the opportunity coming to me and being an invitation to say yes to, I'd always had this understanding that India is a spiritual place. There's a lot of things happening over there. You're going to experience the complete duality of severe poverty and extreme wealth. And then, of course, Mitch and Mills both sharing their insights and experience into that solidified that thought even more so. Mum experiencing India when I was late teenage years, on a bit of a trip of herself like that. So hearing her feedback, and just I've just had this urge to go and experience cultures, all cultures. And so I guess this is one of the first beginnings of experiencing food and the way people live culturally. So there's many more travels to come, but I guess that's probably my intention to start with. And as we know, even in the dances, it's like you have this intention, then it can completely transform by the end of it.
I was like, okay, so this is the start of your intentions, and then it's like the intention after the intention, and then it changes, and the rapid transformation just keeps like shifting. Yes. As you experience things. And as a 3-5 projector, it's just you love to immerse yourself in those different environments, and sometimes you would ask yourself, I know Kristen would say, like, why did I do that, or why did I experience that? I'm like, well, that's part of your nature. It is part of my nature. So that was my intention, and certainly what I went in there with. Cool. And so you're in India, you get there, and you're planted in India, and you get off the plane. How are you feeling? What was your first intakes of India? I know we actually watched a movie prior that did a really great job of being like, okay, explaining it, watch this movie. And I was really immersed in the movie when we watched it too. So I guess comparing to the movie and just how you felt when you got off the plane and your feelings, like what was your first thought of India, your first?
I love that. It was, even just taking it back a second, like the guys really accommodate for you and give you all the support and setup to have an amazing trip, and the do's and the don'ts and what do you want to include, and just to make sure you're going to have a phenomenal trip no matter what happens. And so you're fully supported in that way. And on that note, they don't tell you where you're going as such.
Yes.
And for that purpose of element of surprise and to go with the flow and to be taken through an experience and allow yourself in all of your senses and emotions to bring up all the stuff from whatever they're guiding us through.
Yeah.
And so I expected, because it's personal development, I expected us to have some more personal development sessions.
Yeah.
But then the whole thing was personal development immersion. I realized that later on. So to take it back a second, I didn't know anything of what we're doing. I knew I was going to India, and that was it. I didn't know the cities we were going to. It was about in the last week that one of the final emails came out, and it's listed the cities because we needed to put that down for our visa, our locations of where we'd travel.
Yeah.
And then that was it. So still like, I'm just going to India. Was it.
And just immersing yourself in that.
Yeah. And I'm sure people have asked more details and whatnot, but for me, it was important not to. It was important to go with the flow.
Yeah.
It was important to be guided through things and have that element of surprise come up.
Yeah.
And I knew that was going to be really deep throughout the journey, and it was.
Why is that important for you to have that surprise and to not know that? Why would that be important for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was allowing and let go, allowing myself to let go and surrender. And because as entrepreneurs or in leaders of our life and becoming radically responsibility for every moment in our day and what we're doing, to then go and have everything taken care of, from my flights being booked, from everything, being booked and sorted. All I needed to do was get to Brisbane Airport.
Yeah.
To go into that sort of experience, it was like, why do I want to ask any questions about this? I want to be guided and supported through this, surrender and let go fully.
Yeah.
And allow myself to experience that surrender and let go. Because day to day, it's like I wake up and I know what I'm doing every second.
Yeah, like
so it's the other side.
Control, like there's a lot of control. Yeah.
There's management of everything.
Yeah.
So to then go to the experience, the other side of the coin, it's really important for everybody to do that. Switch between both.
Yeah.
So to go back to your question about, then how did I land? So I got on Singapore Airlines, plug for them. They were great. They were incredible. Never flown with them before, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
And the experience. So they were awesome. And I was just excited to get in and land. We landed in Delhi, first Singapore, and then landed in Delhi.
Yeah.
And shit, like coming into Delhi, this thing is a mother of a city. Like, building upon building, skyscraper for kilometers.
Wow.
And thick smog that's just kilometers deep in depth. You can literally see as the plane comes in to go down to the smog and land, you can see this horizon of smog and horizon of, it's thick gray covering across the whole city. And so the plane got a little bit of turbulence as we hit that smog, and
my gosh,
we're coming in. That's how thick it is, and you look up the toxicity level of the air quality, and it's just through the Richter scale.
Wow.
So to come into that, I was like, okay, this is interesting.
But different to Australia.
Yeah, I was like, okay, there's no gum trees around and not a bloody single greenery almost.
Wow.
You can see some trees. It's just kilometers of skyscrapers. And so to come into that, I was like, okay, this is big. Australia is small. Like, we've got this big country and continent, but we've got not much population compared to these guys.
Yeah.
And so I was came into Delhi Airport, and then it was staying a night, and so it was quite late. We were on a bus, and then we were flying out the next day. And so we got handed 7 flights to do over those 2.5 weeks. And so we'll talk about that as we go through, but we got handed a slip and we were on 7 flights for those 2.5 weeks. So I looked at that and I was like, whoa, well, damn, who has ever traveled that much, had some sort of immersion like that with a total of 11 flights all up for the 2.5 weeks, getting there, coming back, and the internal ones.
A lot of instability
already.
Yes, a lot of energy shifting.
Already.
You're already in a different country. You're drinking different water, which we'll talk about that as well, different foods.
Yeah.
And everything. So you're in India, and I know anybody knows Kristen, knows that she loves curry, loves the Indian food, right? And so talk about your food experience.
Yeah, okay, let's go there
and
first.
What that's brought up for you.
Yeah. So okay, something that I'd learned later on and that I realized at the start, looking back, it's funny to laugh at, was my naivety, if that's how I say it, my naiveness about the trip. So the fact that I'm surrendering and letting go and being like, yeah, whatever happens. There was a massive problem with that, because I then haven't considered my body type, my health status, me entering into another environment, and then how those things are going to be impacted my body and my health status.
Yeah.
And so I went in being like, my mum raised me on curries. I'm going to love Indian food. I love spice. Like, these people are sick. Try the street food if that becomes an opportunity, whatever. I'm all for that stuff. And I was traveling with people who are avid travelers who know the street food. There's good and bad.
Yeah.
You get a sense. And so it's like 4 days I just smashed roti breads for breakfast, curries for breakfast, because
I know you go all in or nothing.
All in or nothing.
Yeah.
And we were with 40 clients. It's obvious that buffet breakfast and buffet dinner was what was best suited to the experience, to make sure everyone's fed and organized. And so, obviously there's pros and cons with buffet food. But it was
never again.
It was, curries, all the traditional food that you can have in India for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all day, all night. And so I went hard. I was like, samosas, whatever it is, baked or fried, who knows, samosas for breakfast, and the rotis and the curries and rice. And they had some small varieties of Western food like toast and cereal. But I was like, no, I'm here in India to experience all, like, immersed. And it became day 4 or 5 where it's a funny story actually, because we don't really eat a lot of like chips and chocolate and junk food and things that people consider really normal. Like, we have spent hours in the supermarket checking backs of labels and educating our clients on healthy foods and how to transition and substitute and swap out.
I was going to say there's difference in like quality of those foods.
So it's funny, we were on a 4 and a bit hour bus ride, or nearly all day, I think it was actually, to go to Diggy Fort, in this beautiful palace that we were only able to go to because it's like a wedding venue, or it's like a really special ceremony venue. So this palace and the accommodation that's in it is not open to the public. The last time the guys went there, it was like the first time that there'd been a group there in such a long time, because the royal family that lives nearby, they send down their people to then host us and to cook for us and to accommodate for us. Otherwise, nobody lives there and stays there. It's just maintained and looked after for when occasions come around. So the fact that we were able to have that experience was freaking incredible. Very special that Mitch and Mills could organize that and have us there for a couple of days. And so we're on our way out to this place. It's in the middle of nowhere, and we stop at this little shop, dingy as toilets. You don't want to touch anything almost. Like, you just, you're going into this hole in the floor and it stinks and everything's strange. And you piss on your foot almost, and like,
goodness.
It's just this whole thing.
I thought the drop dunnies in WA traveling were bad, but this sounds like another level.
No way. Drop dunnies in Australia are like special class compared to some quality in India, and it's real funny. And so we have this little shop, and I buy, we're just trying to get any sort of food. So all on offer is like ice cream in a thing, some coffees or chais, some chocolate bars everywhere in packets, and chips, like Thailand barley style branded chips. And so I go all out, and I'm like, I'm going to get 2 packets of chips and some chocolate. And mind you, Court and I are plant-based, and we lead that movement and that energy and have for a while, and inspire and motivate so many people to do the same.
Yeah.
However, I knew going to India I wouldn't be able to be vegan or plant-based. I knew I'd need to just embrace the dairy, paneer that they have over their cheese, and whatever's given to me. And that was part of the surrender and let go too.
Yeah.
So I've loaded up on chocolate and chips. Anyway, I smashed all those snacks back in the daytimes and got to Diggy Fort and started to feel really unwell hours later and the next day. And I was like, oh God, am I going downhill? Some other people, quite a few of us got unwell in the group, and the guys normally said maybe a third of the group would get unsick on most trips.
Yeah.
But this group was more sick. And some people had like flu symptoms, and then some people had the whole
interesting
thing experience that I had.
And for those listening to this, that whatever noise you just make was like out the mouth, out the butthole.
Yeah,
like,
out both ends. You know, it's coming out both ends. It's a disaster. We're not leaving that toilet bowl for a while, and you're just surviving through the day and the moments thinking about the toilet. And
oh my God.
So I went downhill, and there's medication on offer, and like I said, you're fully supported in this trip, and I went through that experience.
Yeah.
But from that day forth and that moment forth, I needed to come back to realizing that my body was struggling. Up until that point, it's like we eat raw partially of the time, like half the time. We eat so well, we have juices, and so I've gone into this environment where they don't have many veggies. Like eggplant was a big one that we had on offer. Eggplant sort of stew type thing.
Yeah.
Rice, roti, so we're talking bread and gluten and the things that come with that. And paneer in the curry sauce, so that cheese dairy. So they don't load up their curries or their dishes with veggies like we do.
Like, yeah.
Or so it was a massive shift to then go, you guys can see and feel, oh, if you immerse yourself fully in that sort of thing, there's going to be implications on the body and your energy levels.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. It was like my body was then craving fruit. And so I started to look at the Western food that we had on offer for breakfast and think about, okay, I can have some fruit. Sometimes there was some juices available, like at Diggy Fort was really cool. And I just started to eat fruit and stay only on that fruit and have some salads at night time where I could, but also couldn't eat the salads.
I was going to say, can you touch on, like when Kristen's talking about the salad and the fruit, there's limited of this. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah. So the water thing is such a big story, and I had such a huge journey with, because you guys know that Court and I help people transform their lives with our water ionizers. Through creating freedom income, through upgrading their health, upgrading their DNA. Essentially, when you're drinking high powered water, it changes everything, and there's a huge conversation around that.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize the deep connection that I had with water, and even being a Scorpio water sign astrologically and water baby, and you love the ocean and passionate about these things. I didn't realize how deep that was in me. And so India showed me this.
Yeah.
And so the fruit, you had to have things that were peeled. So no apples. And all I wanted was an apple. No apples. I had a bit of watermelon. There was some pawpaw on offer. There was some cantaloupe and pineapple. And that was those 4 were pretty much it for breakfast.
Yeah.
So we eat way beyond that selection. Variety.
Yeah.
And they had to be peeled, and so that was all chopped up. And then so when it came to salads, like no lettuce, you can't have tomato, anything that couldn't be peeled. Once again, the skin, you couldn't eat that. So I was pretty much living off cucumber. And that has good water content.
Yes.
So,
but again, what's the water grown in?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So you can't eat that stuff because the water is washed with those things, or the water's sprayed on the fruit and veg, and so that's why you've got to have it peelable pretty much, because we're not used to that. The guys over there, they bathe in the water, especially the Ganges River where it's sacred and it's holy, which I can talk a little bit more soon. They drink that water, and because of their belief in that the water is holy and sacred, that water holds that memory inside of it, and it is sacred, and it does protect them, and it has so many rituals around it that they immerse in and they connect with water in this way. But when a scientist or somebody comes in with a test tube in that water, its toxicity levels are through the roof, or it doesn't have what scientists would deem as drinkable, safe water. But they can bathe and drink and swallow it and laugh and play in it because that's their belief, and that's how strong it is, and that's their connection with water. Belief. And the oxygen levels in that water are quite high, which is really powerful for the absorption in the body. And that's what our ionized water is about oxygen and having a smaller water molecule. So there's then that side of the scientific research of this connection that they have with water. So but for us going in there as observers and travelers and experiencing it, you're going to find you're going to get unwell if you're engaging with that. And so when I'd have showers and things like this, normally I brush my teeth in the shower, and I let the water run in, and I play and I immerse myself in the water. And when I couldn't do that in India, because we're drinking out of bottles and bottled water, and you've got to put your bottled water on your toothbrush, I started to realize after a few days that it was heavily impacting me, and I couldn't engage with water like I wanted to. And to observe those guys engage with water in such a ritualistic way, yet it was toxic, but it's not. To see them do that, I felt then I was missing out, or I couldn't experience what they're experiencing because I couldn't engage with the water in that way, and I had to drink bottled water, and I couldn't even do my own rituals of water in the mouth and brushing teeth in the shower, and blessing the water when it comes out the tap. I can't even fill up my drink bottle. So I started to realize how negatively my brain was just filtering all of this experience, and realizing I was missing out, and I was just perceiving it that way. So that was some things I worked through and deepened my love for what we do, and the relationship I have with water. You know, it was huge. And my relationship that I have with food, and the mission that I lead with that. It's an energy game too. It's a vibration game. So I became, unwell. And for the rest of the trip, for about 2 weeks, I was vomiting and just passing interesting things.
I'd be on the phone to her. You're such a trooper though. Like, I'd be on the phone to you and you'd just be like, this is happening. And I have to share, and I know you probably might as well. She's drinking Coca-Cola.
I was about to talk into that.
So talk into that.
So one thing that I got attached to over there is I started drinking Coke every day. When I became unwell, that's when the relationship with Coke kicked off. And I had this incredible experience of feeling safe and protected, because my thoughts around Coke is when it goes into your body, it fucking wipes out anything in its path.
Clean with it.
That's why you can clean car parts with it, and you can clean money with it, and do jewelry, like shine jewelry with it, and all this stuff that they say about Coke and how bad it is. I then found safety and groundedness in that, at the fact that, okay, I can have Coke and it can kill anything in its path. And I feel like it did. It was my belief in that. And also I realized that, okay, I was having Coke because I was missing out on the sugars, the natural sugars, indulging in honey that we do, and have this beautiful relationship with honey, and then the fruits that we have every day. And berries, it's like, I was missing those natural sugars, or that relationship to my normal diet and lifestyle. And so I found that safety in Coke, weirdly enough, you know. So it's really bizarre for me to say that. As soon as I flew in, as soon as I came back, that was the end of that relationship with Coke. And
I've met you with water and 2 apples. She's like, I feel so sick. Like, this is what I need. I was like, okay, what do you? Because I had made juices. And I was like, and then you said to me, that's gonna make me feel sick, like too much. And I said, okay, well, what do you need? And you said, you know what? 2 apples
and a liter of water.
And I'm good, of like this good quality ionized water.
I loved it. We've actually got a video of me in the car now. It was just like washing it over me in the car while drinking it.
Literally, and the energy of you when you came back, which is like buzzing and you're just
Yes. Yeah.
you know, like this heightened state. And
Oh.
I know that you and Sean, who you had met, which is incredible, he's also now in the space.
Yes.
And realizing the impact of good quality water.
Yes.
Just like Laura as well over there, who you went traveling with.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, sharing just like the low vibe of the country.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to touch on, like, with the Coke thing before we move on, I found this deep connection with the company and the brand and the mission that those guys have, even though I don't agree with the product, and the only way those guys will transform their product will be through the buyers and the users saying, no, we want something different, more healthy. And that's the only way it's going to transform. But I saw this brand that has distribution rights everywhere in the globe. Nearly every person knows about Coca-Cola or has had one or has many or is a raving fan of this brand and how big and global they have expanded themselves.
Yeah.
And so every time I actually was drinking Coke, I was like imagining being with those CEOs, the people who have bloody businesses and distribution centers everywhere, the processing team. I started to actually visualize how impactful a massive brand can really be and deepen our relationship with the Freedom Sister movement and our own brand, and what that means to take it global and do experiences overseas and have this powerful water in the hands of so many more people. And so I was then plugging into that energy and plugging into like, let's go global and let's go, keep that momentum going forward. So that was really important download and upload that I had with experience too.
Yeah, that's so incredible. And I love the way you think. And I always have admired that about you, is the way that you think about things and your intention. And as a projector, you just have this incredible different perspective. Like an outsider perspective, even on yourself, of your higher self, looking down of like, okay, what am I going to do with this experience? Or how can I really cultivate this and transform this?
Yes.
Because intention and belief is everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I truly believe. If you truly believe something in life, like people believe Coke is good for them, or they believe in the product, and it's the same as smoking. People live till they're 99 and they've smoked their whole life because that's that belief.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
And so I've got this question as well, because I reckon we could do like a part two to this. But I remember this moment. I really want you to tap into that moment of when we're on the phone. I remember, and I was out here, I was watering the garden, and you were speaking about, it was towards the end of the trip, and you were at this orphanage.
Yes.
And I want to connect you back to that mission, and it makes me feel emotional thinking about it because of the impact that you realize that
you wanted to make me cry, right?
I'm like, I want to cry too. The impact that we're cultivating and that we're really doing, coming from this purest state. And so I would love you to tap into that and get a bit vulnerable with, even with what you'd found with family and that connections and what you had envisioned. And what came through in those moments.
So part of the experience was going to support an orphanage in Rishikesh, and that was my favorite place in India. And I can share more on that too. It was at the base of the Himalayas. It had the Ganges River running down from the mountains, and the air quality was thinner, and it was really beautiful and fresh trees. It was a gorgeous mountainside that we stayed in that part in Rishikesh.
Literally like a breath of fresh air after the trip that you had been on.
Because it happened towards the end that we went there. And so that was my favorite place, and part of that experience was going to an orphanage. I can post in the comments what orphanage. It's Ramana's Garden from memory. And I knew I'd be fucking a mess. Literally. When you go to something and you just like, this is going to hit me so hard. You just feel it coming.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Please resonate with me. I'm sure
you. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Hey, Em, how are you?
Yeah, I just saw Em's comment, hey, babe. And so I knew when going in there it was going to be deep. And we walked in this orphanage. We went down this footpath that's broken concrete everywhere, barbed wire fence, a garden, a veggie garden that's a bit overgrown, needs maintaining, and the buildings run down in bricks, and there's buildings half done and exposed wires and Rio everywhere either side of it, and it's down this, you know, little dingy pathway. And so we walk past there and there's cameras, and then there's a bodyguard with a gun. And so we get in there and I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting to learn about these guys. We're gathered as a group and we were encouraged to bring gifts for the children and bring something from back home, clothes, drawing, books, pencils, things that they can utilize in that way. And so I brought a whole bag of clothes with just cleaning up my closet, really gorgeous women's clothes. And we put all our stuff down, and then the two that greeted us, a female and a male, who came out to show us around the place and speak into the mission, they were just incredible. They came out, there was this old German shepherd that's obviously part of the land. He came out, he's about 18, 19 or something, shaking back legs and walking up to everyone panting and just loving on us. And that's, you know, that's a long time for a German shepherd.
Yeah.
And you just can tell the vibration, the energy of this place. So it's already ramping up inside of me. And this place is just on a hillside, trees everywhere, and they've made little huts for the school rooms.
Yeah.
That are separate, and where the children stay, and cooking places, and on little footpaths that go down and stone steps, and it's just immersed in nature and in trees, and it's utilizing the land. You know, it's one of those beautiful setups.
Yeah.
And so the woman comes out, and they're quite young, and the male, and so there was another woman who did come out, and that woman, the second one, and the male are married. And then, but the two that took us around, the main ones, when I looked at her and when she started speaking, she's a psychologist and has that background. I just saw me through the eyes of her soul. And everything she was speaking about the children, where they come from, you know, it can be parents have passed away or been killed, or parents who have disowned the children, you know, thrown them literally in the rubbish bin as babies, or tried to sell their children. You know, the children have come from all sorts of backgrounds and stories, or some parents who just can't afford to feed the children, and so then they're wanting a better life for them. So there's that too. As she was talking about where the kids have come from, and these are about 5 years old to 11, 12 years old, so primary school age. And the vision of Romana's Garden is to have the high school age incorporated into it, so it's all on the one land, and the child can go from prep to year 12.
Amazing.
Instead of trying to find funding at that point of transitioning and trying to get them into another school, and then they're sort of displaced and the energy is a bit shaken up in that transition. So that's their future vision. But as she's going through the issues that the guys are having there with the neighbors have done everything they can to try and shut down the school and make up stories about them, saying that they're doing child labor. And because Romana's Garden used to have a cafe, and the cafe would have the kids helping out in the cafe, learning recipes and cooking, learning customer service, learning how to handle money and what it means to have a job and income and run a business, you know, from this age, which is really, really valuable skills that you don't get generally taught in school at all. You don't even get a glimpse of it. And so they had this beautiful cafe that then would provide money and income for Romana's Garden and so anyway, the story is that the neighbors, they dobbed them into the government, saying they're doing child labor and child slavery and anything they can to try and get rid of the school, because they want to build hotels and build accommodation and make it business investment land. Now knock down any of the cute buildings and develop that place. And so totally, you know, they've had break-ins. That's why they ended up having to get a security guard with a shotgun, because they've had break-ins and people try and do things to the children, and just years. Like this was going on about 5 years ago when Mitchell Mills last went there, and so this is a really long process that they're going through. and trying to fight while doing their mission. And so there's a lot of gold in thinking about that for yourselves, about when you're going for something and you're on mission and on path, you are going to be faced with the darkness and the devil and the shadow parts, and it can look however it's meant to look, and you've got to know how to hold yourself through that and move through that. And so I saw myself in her. And then when he started speaking, and they're great friends, I just saw my brother, and he's just talking, and this guy was so grounded and so heart-led. He'd come from a family where something had happened to his parents, and he just wanted to be on mission and help kids like himself. And that's why he was involved in the community and being a leader in that way. So I just saw my brother in him, and the way he just blinked, and his eyes and his demeanor, and the strength and the presence that he had, and the mission that his heart deeply desires. And I just was bawling my eyes out in that first experience. I was just like, I get it now, like family and community and leading a mission is so powerful and so transformational. And as they lead us through seeing the children and visiting the classrooms, it just continued. We're going down the steps and going into the classroom, and they all say hello and start singing and dancing. And when children sing and dance and just lay their heart out so beautifully and open, you just feel this overwhelming sense of abundance and love, and like nothing else matters except everything about this moment. Love, mission, triumph. Like, these children have been through horrific experiences or seen things or known things at such a young age, and for them to go and just emanate love and light
no matter what,
and want to be in that classroom and want to be at that school, and are so thankful and appreciative for their opportunity to keep moving through life despite the challenges, was like, oh my gosh, I embrace all of this. I want all of this for myself. I see all of this for myself, and deepening that own connection to my story. And so I'm at the front of the classroom, and some of us are lined up, and of course the other mums and women, they're all going crying, and I don't even have children yet, and I'm
crying.
I'm crying. You can feel that, Em. And I'm just bawling my eyes out and laughing, and they're looking at me and pointing, and it's big. And it made me realize how important it is to work in with charity, work in with companies and missions and visions, that if you can't start your own and do that journey yet, get involved in someone else's. You will know that you'll get out of your own way every fucking time in your own stuff, and just you're there, hands open, hands on, ready to go, and be like, what can I do to help you guys? Like, this is incredible, this is amazing. And so the guys have a big vision, as I said, to make the later school years, have a building there, need funding, like to sponsor a child, it's $1 a day, $365 a year. And that's their medical, that is their school books, their uniform, and for them to be fed. So everything covered.
So this is a really great point, because you know where that money's going. Like, you've now invested, you've seen it, you've experienced that in that school. You've literally, and I wasn't even there, but I can feel it. And I know those who are listening and watching can feel it, of like that abundance and that joy, and the impact that those people are having. And the fact that for 5 years or more, however long, these people next door have been trying to take over and coming into school, whatever fucking things that have happened, their mission is so strong. Like, they're still standing 5 years later, and it's like, they're the people that I want to be supporting. They're the people that I want to be investing my money into. They're the people that I'm choosing, because that's on par with my mission too.
It was just incredible, and I was just crying the whole time, and of awe, like gratitude, tears of joy, tears of bliss, deepening my relationship with myself and my mission, and how I can bring this energy back and encourage you to deepen your relationship and connection. And I find that we go through these experiences to have that deepening.
Mm.
You can't get it through a screen. You can't get it being at home and even doing personal development work or taking you through yourself through processes and moving through your stuff until you're in a different environment and with different people and seeing people's missions and visions. Like, that's where it all comes together. That's where a lot of the work I find is so important for you to get yourself to that place. Get yourself to that environment, or get yourself talking, having conversation, even with a leader of a mission and vision. You can feel that deepening happening. You don't have to go to India and get into it.
Yeah.
It's like you can find local communities and connecting with people who are doing more to serve humanity and to raise the vibration of each other, because that's what's going to raise the vibration of the planet.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Oh my God, so many takeaways.
Yeah.
I wanna finish up with, I guess, what was your biggest aha moment, or the thing that you loved the most? What was the thing that maybe some other experiences, if you want to share, that you didn't enjoy seeing but had to experience and saw? And then let's start with that. Like, what was the, like, some painful things that you experienced and witnessed in there, and some realizations that come from that as well?
Yeah, so I hadn't touched on this yet, but the rubbish issue over in India is phenomenally massive. And for me, experiencing it also deepened my relationship with sustainability and reducing plastics. And it's not just that slogan and that term. It's a really serious issue and really serious conscious choice that we get to make to invest in cleaning that up and doing the best that we can with that situation. Because everywhere I looked in India, even in Rishikesh, where it's more beautiful, there is rubbish. And even to speak to the guys about it and their experience from 20 years ago and through that journey, it was 10 times, or if not more, worse back then. And so for me to go in and experience it to the level that I did, with seeing it I did, then to know that, I was like, how could people live like this? How could people choose this? How could governments allow this to happen? People in charge. There's no bins. There is a very small rubbish collection service that goes around and tries to clean up. It's like they do one thing and 10 things are added, so it's going to be this really long process of cleaning up. And of course, we're going to the G20 2030 vision about bloody all that government economic forum stuff about they got to have it cleaned up by then and blah blah blah. Who knows what's going to happen then? When they had the Olympics there, they did have to do a lot of cleanup, so it's kind of come from that point. But just the energy of the everyday person opening packets of chips or packets of tobacco, or the fruit and veg that they eat, just tossing it out of their hand and keep walking, was like so insane to watch for myself, because we don't have this in Australia. If a friend throws something out the car window, most of us, well, I hope, we don't like that, and people get dobbed into the EPA, and it's frowned upon. It's a real no-no, and we don't want to have that problem for our wildlife.
We don't see rubbish lying around everywhere.
We really
agree.
We really don't. And some of you guys would know how strict Singapore is about chewing gum and all that stuff. So, and rubbish, and so it's a big thing. But to see it, like when I'm looking at any point on the ground, there is either a layer of rubbish or a piece of rubbish. If I zoom in and then I move to the next place, there's rubbish. It is everywhere. And it also infects the waterways. Any waterway has a line of rubbish or rubbish around it where it's leaching plastics, microplastics, and leaching toxicity into the waterways as well. So the rubbish was massive, and it deepened my connection with sustainability and how important it is. Our machines fucking replace your entire cleaning closet that you'd have in your home. So sprays, washing detergent, toothpaste, shampooing, conditioner,
tire
cleaner. It replaces then skincare products as well. By being a toner with the beauty water that we have and replacing moisturizers. So to then align myself more and more with that mission and vision by having that experience and being like, we need to get good water into these places, and we need to get this replacement of plastics into these places. I was like, all in.
Yeah, because you would have to ring the bell like every time you wanted to
have a bottle
of water.
Yeah.
And you shared with me, you nearly didn't want to ring the bell because you didn't want the bottle of water. Like,
yeah, I realized not only was I feeling super bloated from bottled water, and it's such a different experience drinking any water else but the ionized water that we have, because it doesn't get absorbed by the body properly. So you either wear it out a lot or it sits in pockets, and it's not helping you detoxify. There's a lot of health issues with that. I was realizing that I had this thing about ringing the hotel for water everywhere we'd go, because they'd give you just 500 mils for the whole day. It's like, I'm supposed to drink 4 liters of water a day, because that's what I do back home. Like, I can't even have more water freely. Freedom of choice. I can't have that. And so I realized I was dehydrating myself on purpose, because I was playing out this perception and this story of, if I can't even ring, I feel trapped. I feel stuck. I feel a bit suffocated. And they're big words, but I love to describe it in this way to paint a pretty cool animated picture too, for you to feel into. And so I was dehydrating myself on purpose and not calling, and because I didn't want to engage with that, and it was a whole thing. So that was fascinating to also journey through and realize, no, I need to call and just ask, and I need to just go through this experience and have my learnings and come out on this other side and be like, wow, to turn on the tap to have the best water in the world is incredibly insane, and I'm so blessed. And now I get to share that more and deeper with everybody else.
Really deepening you've deepened your relationship to your mission so much more by experiencing this like hardship.
That's right. And I guess that's the guys at Romana's Garden, like their mission is deepened and they're connected with it, and they've got this constant dark cloud hanging over them, literally living next door all the time. So this is important. This is so important for the entrepreneurial journey, because it becomes lonely, it becomes hard, it becomes challenging and difficult. And this is where you must have the power of community, and you must have incredible people that you have relationships and friendships and connections with who hold you accountable. You need that.
I love that. It's like a metaphor of like your neighbor, like their neighbor. It's like this dark energy. You could think of like your brain trying to keep you safe. Like you're always going to have that part of you that wants to sabotage. Like that is your neighbor. You can think of it like, you know, so to be able to see that, the difference in that is like how to manage that, how to really control that, because we'll talk about this last night, even that, you know, it's a big topic of understanding that we all can have these really bad negative thoughts. It's understanding about, okay, what do you do with them is what matters. And that's a big difference, I think, in a lot of society, in the medication, and that's a whole nother topic. But even just that contrast, it's so key. You've just thrown yourself in this environment and been like, hey, now I manage these thoughts and I manage myself. Like I've always admired your mindset, your high level mindset that you, because of what you've done and everything. So
thank you. It was a big one to observe myself through it. And it's funny you say that exact words, and I thank you for that as well, because I had people on the trip when I'd share things with them, and I'm an open vessel for everyone to have shared things, what they're experiencing too, and me to hold that space. And so they gave me that feedback as well of like, wow, you think of things so incredibly. It gave them so much to then think about what they're experiencing and how to optimize their experience and really embody things and integrate
and
things.
Embrace it.
And it was funny because Laura, who I was traveling mostly with, and beautiful Beck, I can't remember Beck's human design type, but it came up to have human design chats as we do in astrology chats with the guys, and I did Sean's bit of his human design, and of course dove deeper with Laura, and we vibed so much. And it was funny to know that Sean is a 4/6 projector. So Laura's a projector. She's a 3/5 projector, isn't she?
Yes. That's correct.
Which is me.
You're a 3/5. You're 3/5 projector as well. So Laura
and I, same. Courtney's a 4/6 profile, and so is my partner Nick, 4/6 profile. So to see then Sean manifest into a projector, same energy type as Laura and I, and then the 4/6 profile of both, I was like, we are meant to be in this space. We are meant to be connected. We're meant to be vibing about our experience, and also then beyond the trip.
Yes.
You know, both Laura and us are very connected and have been for a few years. But then this is like just taken off to another level. And Sean's a pretty incredible person, and someone that we've welcomed into our space too. And he's been right on board with the water and understanding of it too. So it's like, wow, this is the power of community and incredible people that you attract in. Your vibe attracts your tribe. But it really does, you know, it's how much deeper can you go with your own vibe to then have this epic tribe that you're going really deeper with too. So, you know, we obviously come together and would share thoughts and through the trip.
I love that so much. And so on that note then, what was something that you really loved and learnt about India to like I guess a big takeaway?
Mitch and Mills always frame, you know, Mother India gives you something and you give something to her. And that's what he's always felt traveling, both of them traveling there every time. And so that question, you know, what did I take from India and what did I give to her is a big question. And what I took away from her, oh my God, there's a eucalyptus oil, just saying. We're looking for that.
We've been looking at that for ages.
What I took away from her first was that deepening relationship with my mission and myself, and how powerful experiences really are, especially after COVID, where things were shut down and suppressed and confined and trapped and suffocated to some degree. Then to be open back up again and have this freedom to understand that freedom of choice and how important it is for everybody was everything that she gave me and showed me in many different ways and many different whispers. Was you have all this power, Kristen, and you have all this understanding. You can do so much with it, and keep deepening that relationship and keep expanding your consciousness in that, in just freedom of choice. And that's a value, and that's both of our values, and the Freedom System movement's values, freedom of choice in everything that you do, and honorably understanding your conscious decisions in every moment. And so she really gave me my own deepening and my own awareness of that too. And what I gave to India,
energy,
positive energy. What I gave to India was my love and my gratitude for what I had seen and what I had experienced, and for me saying yes to being there, and my promise to I don't want to say changing, but it's my promise to upgrade the people, upgrade their environment, upgrade the way that they live, to bring my uniqueness and my beautiful essence into that space and do something with that, to help inspire, to help motivate, or to help make change in the country. And so it was like me dancing between this concept of, is it am I judging, am I saying that it's wrong the way that it's happening over there, or is it I've got all of this power and all of this thing, I can come in and do something with that. So I was dancing on that concept of like, it is what it is, and you just leave it. Is that part avoidance? Is that part you not wanting to confront something? Is that part of you just not taking leadership? And then the other side of having the power and like, I can come in and do something here. And because I saw people wanting that too. I saw their energy and their receptivity of people want something different. People don't want to just beg every single day and be that way. People want change. They want momentum forward. They want movement. They don't want to stay stagnant.
It's like, who's directing them? Who's leading them in their life? Like, how are they leading themselves?
And, you know, it was really interesting to, when we talk about energy, to see them be so ritualistic in their beliefs and their high energy and their praying and their gods and the processes that they follow. And I see that as quite high vibrational. They immerse themselves in understanding there's something greater than us, and they honor that through gods or through the ways that they do. And so it was like interesting to see this high vibrational ways, and then to see them begging from moment to moment, or in this like almost lower consciousness of survival mode.
Yeah.
So it was like I was seeing then the dance between the crown chakra or the higher chakras, the higher energy access points of their rituals, their beliefs, their honorings, but then seeing this root chakra, sacral solar plexus energy, or this lower vibration of like these people can't even handle money to some degree, some of them. And this is where I'm talking about the poverty end of the scale, even the wealth, because then it's not being spread and it's not being moved around like momentum. It's not being transferred around. It's being held and kept into small families or small parts of the country, and then everybody else is left with not much education and not much inspiration to move forward and come out of that energy and consciousness. So it was interesting to then see them go, it's like dancing from their beliefs and rituals and high vibrational states to then they can't afford things and it's hard to get 10 cents a day and they're struggling to get food on some end of the spectrum, or
like this stubbornness energy or like arrogance or something.
Wanting to stay stuck possibly in the victim mentality or the victimhood of not moving forward. But there was a few conversations before going to India of Indian people in our community being like, why would you go to that country? We literally fled that country to start a better life in Australia and to have more for our generations to come and break generational trauma and generational curses, So to have then to go into there and understand, okay, that's why people come to our country and are so honored to be here and build this life, because they want to transform where they've come from. I get it, going there and seeing that and being like, my own perception of upgrading these guys, I get why people have fled their countries. It's really important to understand that, why we have immigrants coming in, and that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic.
But it's important to see the intention and mission behind that of people wanting a better life. And just to say a really out there statement about that, if you have some sort of issues with immigrants or people coming into our country or being multicultural, I'd love you to think about it from the point of, are they triggering something in you about them wanting a better life and you're not moving in your own life? And so them coming into this country, Australia, and being very wealthy and a better economy than some, is that a deeper calling racism, or you judging these people for coming in and the government's letting it in? Is that a deeper calling for you to go within and think about, well, they're moving forward in my life and they're mirroring this to me, where can I move forward in my life and do better and have more? Because I bet you $1 million, I can just feel it. I bet you if I sat down and spoke to some people who feel so strongly about that, there would be so many holes and gaps about them not progressing in their life, whether it was through their health or their marriage breakdown or their connection with their kids or their business or their career. I can put so much down on the line.
So much scarcity.
And that's why they can judge people like that coming in. There's other variables to the conversation and governments and shit.
I kind of find that very controversial. I'm very much on that.
Oh, I love it.
However, maybe that triggers something in you.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's really great to have that awareness of like, oh, how does that sit with me? That doesn't sit right. Or and then why? Unpack that of why that doesn't. Yeah. So we could talk till
there's so much we'll do a part 2.
We'll do a part 2. I'm really loving this. I'm loving our episodes that we have, and we'll build more on this. What's one advice or the one thing on your mind, on your heart, that you're like, I just want to share this, or this something from India, or the reason why even coming on here today, or that you want our community to then take on for themselves?
Yes. Yeah, that's cool. it would be to the moment that you feel stagnant or stuck or in a part two, the moment that you feel stagnant or stuck in your life or emotions that are on a lower consciousness funnel scale, frustrated, aggravated, angry, fearful, scared, anxious, is to take a step forward into a courageous state. And just something that has stayed with me so much and we've talked about a lot is the part of you contributing to this planet or contributing to something that's meaningful, that's beyond you, like somebody's mission and somebody's vision. Going down and doing a soup van, like that's really simple, but it just is an action that actually gets you out of your own way and seeing the broader scale of what environment you've come here to be immersed in on this planet. When you go and do service like this and you go and see different environments that are outside your friendship group, it's very easy to think that you're hearing about problems when your friends get together and they're talking with each other and you've got relationship problems or boss problems, or it's very easy to think that that's satisfied as maybe you help coach your friend through it or you're helping with advice or you help support them. It's very easy to get in the whole, well, that's contributing, isn't it? Or that's connection, isn't it? When we talk about the human needs, you got to ask yourself, is that really desired contribution? Is that really deep connection? Is that really growth? What are the outcomes that are coming from this? And I find that those situations are important with friends, family, and work, and etc. There's also the deeper learnings that you'll get from when you contribute and you hear someone's story that is a complete random at a soup van, or you go and immerse yourself in cleaning up plastics and you connect with families on the beach, or you speak to some of the leaders who are running that, or you go to some sort of charity event and just get involved in a different environment and hear different stories. Or like what I've done is gone traveling and been immersed with these guys who are incredible, which is nothing like a Kentucky. It's a personal development thing and spiritual
not to be compared
journey.
to.
No way. That's where you really get out of your own way and you deepen your connection with yourself, because you're just seeing what else is out there in this environment. You're not stuck in your head. The moment you hear someone's story of their trauma and you're serving them soup or you're just engaging with them or sitting with them, it's just like mind almost goes like blank. Things go quiet. It's almost this love heart opening experience, and you're like, there's so much more. You see this glimpse, you get a deeper anchor into your own mission, or you go back to your workplace and you feel chuff walking into the office or getting online with clients or talking on the phone because you just have got this pump in your step.
It opens your perspective, because I know that I went through a couple moments when you were away for myself personally, and I had a whole, like, we're always on the same timeline, myself and Kristen, it just looks differently. And so like I've got my own growth going on, and I remember us having that conversation, and I always talk about contribution, and I had to take a step back after having that conversation with you of like, well, how the fuck am I really how am I giving back right now? I'm actually not doing what I'm preaching. I'm not being involved in that. And instantly, even when I just thought of serving and helping other people, being it like, serving soup or whatever it is in that way, I was instantly like, wow, I just was in a different state. My problems didn't seem as bad. Like I was like, okay, it made me feel more grateful for what I have and what I'm doing and going through. And so it's a very powerful thing.
It's getting involved in your community. It's getting involved in people's missions and visions, because ultimately that's all we're here for. I listen to so many high level people, and ever since India, I'm immersing myself deep again into Grant Cardone's world. Love him to death. We both do. Listened and followed his journey for many years, and the kids and the family and Elena. And so I'm listening to all of his latest podcasts and just working myself back. And all of them, all the superstars, John Travolta, all the famous football players and the people that he had speak at GrowthCon, and musicians, actors, like people he's brought into that conference and then who's on his podcast anyway, they just talk about the same thing over and over again of this contribution, and all we're here to do is help and serve. Like, it doesn't matter what the scale is, how much money through your vessel you're generating and dispersing and maintaining and bringing in. It doesn't matter if it's just $500 a week or them millions or billions of dollars a week.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if there's one person in your team or 50. It's the same vision and mission and same energy. We're here to contribute, serve, upgrade, up level, learn, experience, grow, help others to do the same thing. That's it.
And the more money you make, the more you can give back, and
the more you can do.
Yeah.
And so that's why money is incredible, and your energy around your money relationship needs to be deepened and improved, because that money just amplifies then that one thing that everybody's focused on and wants in their heart is to serve, to grow, to learn, to inspire, to empower people to come together.
Yeah.
So that's why I think the most important thing to leave you with and consider is your contribution aspect of your life, because it can be so small.
Yeah.
It can be so small, like doing a soup van or going to a domestic violence center or a drug center, or just whatever lands with you. I'd love for you to actually comment in the chat. What is it that lands for you, or what are your past experiences? I've done work at the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne. We've done work with OUR. We've done work with Sea Shepherd, and there's so much more to come. And to know that I know in my heart of hearts, there'll be a foundation charity movement in this lifetime around clean water and toilets. The sanitation thing probably will naturally come into it, but clean water and the sustainability piece, like cleaning up the plastics thing and transforming that, is huge in this lifetime for me.
Well, you've actually opened up my perspective of like even our team and you know in our affiliate, like who we affiliate with, and just like as a community what we get to do and impact. And we know people who other leaders within our space that are in Bali, and they're creating homes out of recycled plastic bottles. And it just, there's incredible things that then it opens up my perspective, because we're, you know, around this type of energy and those incredible leaders of like, okay, well then how can we as a team, like what parts of the world are we going to be in? Like how are we going to be giving back? How are we going to be serving? And it just, even from your experience in India, that orphanage, we just had so many ideas that came through around that piece. And you just really get to feel and embody that of like what that really means.
100%. And you know, there's even with the orphanage and sponsoring children, and that's been a theme of my parents also growing up. And yes, it may have been done through World Vision and
I'm pretty sure my parents did that too. Dad was very big on that, actually.
You know, and the ads plastered over the marketing. You got to go deep and ask yourselves these questions about stuff that you invest your money and time and contribution into. You know, World Vision's got so many issues and holes in the way that companies run. I want you, to think about contribution and your growth and starting at such a small scale, and also take the time, because you're a leader and an empowered CEO of your life. Take the time to then, the vision and mission, but also consider how is that vision and mission run? What is their leadership team like? And get to know those people. You know, the soup van company might be funneling money somewhere else.
I know, I've thought about this. I'm like, I'm going to have to experience it.
Because that's something that's been a conversation I've had with people is, they don't want to invest time and money into something because it's all a scam. Red Cross funnels all the money, and it's government collected anyway. It's true. Acknowledge and honor that. That doesn't stop you contributing and going deeper into finding the missions and visions, because that's not every charity, it's not every organization.
No.
And so you will have then the responsibility of honoring that point and still being a leader in that, and going and still doing something about it.
Not just start one then.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Do something about it.
But I love to keep things, chunk it back and keep it small. There is so many things that you can make effort and put energy and time to that are going to really fulfill you. This is about you being fulfilled. It's not about you doing something for someone else. It is. But what's being really received is this deeper connection with yourself, a deeper fulfillment in you. When people feel lost, or you're in your head, or you're going through your own stuff and challenges in life, the best thing you can do is serve someone else, because you get perspective on your own stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's easy to be clouded by your own story and perception about what's happening in your world. And that's why putting yourself in other people's worlds and doing service in this way on a very small scale just deepens your own connection with your stuff, and how to deal with things, and how to manage your emotions, and how to move through it.
Yeah. You have to want it, you know, you have to want that for yourself and for your life.
Yeah.
And that's very much what we've been doing.
Yeah. Even like past clients, if they come to us and they got all this stuff going on, one of the first questions we ask is, when was the last time you contributed? What did you do? How did it make you feel? And every time it was not for a long time. And so that was a task for them to go and do. And sure enough, it had its impacts, and it had its transformation that unfolded. So it's like, you know, you've got to ask yourself that.
Yeah. So this has been such a phenomenal, incredible, I've been waiting for us to do this
literally
episode, and would love, like, really be involved. Like, what resonated?
We're doing it.
You did it. Like, what resonated for you? What triggered things in
triggered.
you?
Let's go.
Like, let's talk about it. What inspires you?
Yes.
If you're wanting to be a part of the mission, like, you're like, I don't know what these girls are on, like, doing or what they're cultivating. I love the energy. Like, reach out to us. You need to start claiming for what you want in this life.
Yeah.
And that's what we're very much here. We're here to empower you to make those changes in your life. We're here to empower you to grab onto the reins of your life and do something with it, because that's exactly what we've done, and that's exactly what we continue to do. And that's the leaders that we lead in. We're not here to change your life. You're here to change your life.
100%. We're here to fucking celebrate that with you the entire step of the way.
Yeah.
We're the celebration queens. So we celebrate everything. We had a celebration bell. Part of this gong its job is for celebration and clearing energy and all the things that gongs do.
So how are you celebrating today?
Celebrating, taking
Every
your
day.
head off the pillow every day, and celebrating your friends, and celebrating your family, and celebrating the things that you do. You can celebrate challenges because you take away epic wisdom pieces and insights from those challenges. That's a celebration.
I've come so far with that, you know. I've been so triggered. That's a whole nother topic as well, another episode. I feel like. So guys, so excited for you. Thank you so much, Christo, for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and your just beautifulness and your experiences. Like, some people may not need to feel like they need to go to India now, because
they're like, I'm ready for part 2 and I'm done.
they've lived through you, and they don't need that part. Maybe it's somewhere else you want to go, but that's that inspiration. That's what you continue to do, is just show up within as a woman, you know, in this space, and leading first. So
thanks, babe.
Let's go.
Have the most magical day today, guys. We will speak to you very soon, and lots of love. Bye.